Welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of ranking the bargain, the deal of the century, give us a better price or it's too expensive series of cryptocurrencies. And in this part, we will start with none other than the Aventis, right, on base. Now, Aventis is up to date. So that answers the question. It has a nice bounce from the bottom, and of course, is it in deep value? Well, all-time high is 87%, September 2025, 4 months ago. All-time low was 18 cents. Again, if you look at the circulating supply of 1 billion, and of course, the total supply of 1 billion, and the circulating supply of 258 million, TVL has gone decent. So TVL to market cap ratio is pretty. Circulated market cap, by the way, is the TVL is bigger, which is good. And look at the trading volume over the last 24 hours. It's brilliant. It has done a brilliant recovery. Now, of course, one thing you've got to watch with this is the fact that you've got the circulating supply versus the current supply. But in my opinion, because it's pumping and it has recovered, I would say right now, slow down. Slow down. It's currently, give us a better price. I would say, of course, you never buy a token when it's pumping, or maybe you could even argue as it stands, it's too expensive, but I'd say give us a better price long term if you want to give yourself an exposure. The narrative is very good. And of course, the project is very good. Now let's look at some of the bargains. KASPA doesn't need to be talked about. It is a straight bargain, both in market cap, in price, in terms of the technology. I've been talking about KASPA now for nearly 3 years plus. So it goes straight into bargain. Canton is another coin. Often when we cover Canton, I have done a video of Canton on the channel. It is up to date. Of course, this is a massive cryptocurrency. The all-time low, this is where the bargain would have been around that 10 cents, in my opinion. So right now, it is absolutely pumping. Big market cap. Nevertheless, a very good privacy coin. Privacy has been doing very well. It is a utility token, of course, and not a speculative asset. And of course, if you're into the fundamentals of a privacy coin with the Canton network that has a huge TVL, huge market cap, and is doing all of this without a recognized major exchange. So Canton is one that is, of course, very safe long term. We still need to see who else is going to grab Canton. But I would say for now, we need a better price, right? Let's be fair. Ether is cheap. There's no more to say to that. And of course, ATH, as computational power is going to be more and more in demand. Yes, it's green today, but it is less than, you could buy 100,000 tokens for $940. That's how bad it is. And the unlocks have been pretty aggressive. However, in the last 24 hours, of course, it has done a slight recovery. Tokenomics are really bad here. So what I would say is majority of the inflation has been coming from the nodes, of course. But look at this, the cliff here is until 2028. This is pretty aggressive. Now, when I said to everyone that all of the projects designed their tokenomics for the end of 2025, I would say if you're holding this one or if you're looking for this in the long term, I would probably say this has got to have it is absolutely as cheap as chips right now. Say, I would say, is a bargain. Why? Because Say's kind of daily active revenue is low. The TVL has come down quite a bit. And Say right now, for me, anyone who's looking for a layer one question mark that I have is the builders activity on Say. It's hardly there. So yeah, let's keep it moving. Another one that is of kind of bargain deep value is Zora. So anyone who knows about the creator economy, anyone who knows about what Base is doing with Zora, what Base is doing with the likes of you know, all of these Farcaster, all of these different incredible projects. I think this is a bargain. And why do I say that? The price can come down a little bit more. However, this is at the center of the creator economy for Base. So when Base ultimately picks up, Zora will be one of the most important protocols in my opinion. And I think it will do very, very well. Is it a bargain now? Really depends on your understanding of a DCA strategy, because that's exactly why I'm doing the reason why I'm doing this video. It is 77% down from its all-time high of 14.5 cents. So for me, yeah, 70% discount is decent, but could we get some more? And the idea of an extra bargain is always enticing. I would say 50% plus. I mean, it's 70% off, so it's relatively cheap, right? Next one is Toshi. Toshi needs to give us a better price. I don't care what anyone says. I love Toshi. I DCA into Toshi, and I think Toshi could even be cheaper. I would be incredibly even more bullish below or sub $100 million market cap. And I think you can't get better conviction for a meme coin. I don't care whether I buy Toshi now or whether I buy Toshi at the depths of the bear market, when ultimately we have this coming back down to 25. If we do see a 25 or lower, I think it would be bonanza. But give us a better price, Toshi, because I think we can still buy Toshi a little bit better. Next is ICP. I saw ICP was one of the best performers over the last 30 days. Now, of course, ICP has its critics. The market cap is down. The chart, historically, this is an SBF rig. If you want to look at the chart, you can see here peaks and troughs, $3, $3.80. I mean, look, it's never going to do its all-time high of $700, and the all-time low is around $2. So it's closer to the $2, which came about 4 months ago, than it is to the high or the, you know, the ATH for this project. So $3, this is an absolutely dirt cheap price. So I would say, regardless of what you think of it, we will say it's dirt cheap. Next is Arweave. Arweave is a bargain. Why? Because it's not, first of all, it's not a sexy coin. Nobody talks about Arweave. Nobody talks about AO. Nobody talks about that whole entire ecosystem until they do, right? $200 million. All-time low historically for AR was around this dollar. I believe it was 29 cents. Sorry. Yeah, so it's 10x up from its all-time low. That happened 6 years ago. Now, in terms of the trading volume, from fully diluted market cap, $14 million, but there is absolutely no chance of tokens being unlocked or having that risk. Now, of course, ultimately, DeepIn, I'd say DeepIn and AI, along with RWA, are the most important use cases for cryptocurrencies in the future. This is a bargain. I don't care what anyone says. Linear, I'm not really too fussed. I think Linear is expensive as it is. No real use cases at the moment, but there is a massive catalyst coming for Ondo, and that happens in February. It's called Ondo Summit in New York, and this is 50% of the circulating market cap, right? However, if you look at the outstanding tokens, of course, still a bit, you know, every year they do this massive unlock. 33 cents. Could we get a better price? It is relatively cheap, but give us a better price. You know, if the unlocks, if the market pulls back further and we see below 20 cents, I think that would be incredible. Monero is pumped. It's too expensive. Epic Chain, I think Epic Chain is still decent discount. Render has bottomed, more or less. Virtual's Protocol can give us a better discount. However, I would still say it is cheap compared to what it's trying to achieve. Fundamentally strong cryptocurrency here by the name of Chainlink. Now, of course, this is, again, it's up there with the likes of, you know, these big, you know, the Ethereums of this world. In my opinion, in the next 10 years, Chainlink's value will be astronomical. I think it's one of the most important cryptocurrencies. I'm not doing this by market cap. I would say it is about 50% off from the recent highs. I would say probably Tau needs to give us a better price. It is a generational coin. Still a bargain for the circulating supply. But of course, You could also say it's cheap, but I'm going to go with give us a better price because it is absolutely, for me, you know, if Tau came to 160, I would fill the bank. Now, the thing about Tau that you must understand is it comes to a demand zone and it never leaves that demand zone. That's all it is. Tau never, ever, like it will come here and then shoot back up. It's likely to tap this again and it will shoot back up. So give us a better price. That's going to be a fallacy. I think DCAing within this yellow box here between 160 to about where it is today, around $230. I think it's quite relatively cheap. But if I'm going to be greedy because I just want to have more and more of Tau, I would say give us a better price. It is a long-term conviction. Pump.fun is relatively cheap right now, I would say. But of course, on the market cap aspect of things, the legal aspects of things, it could be an expensive purchase because I believe there are better meme coins to potentially buy. The likes of Dogecoin, of course. SPX is another one. Is it still expensive? SPX 6900. Is it in deep value? Well, the crash here is spectacular, guys. Absolutely. You can't make this up. SPX was one of the biggest. And in the collapse that it's had, if you look at the maximum price here, it is now coming back into a deep value zone. If it breaks below 34 cents, I could see a further capitulation of this. You could argue there is a bit of an uptrend here, but right now, SPX 6900 is pretty cheap. And of course, give us a better price. If it crashes below 30 cents, I think it was going to be a very good value to start dabbling into. Zen rather. Zen is actually pretty cheap. It had a pump. Now today, all of the privacy coins crashed spectacularly, but Zcash is too expensive. It has pumped way too hard. Monad is a bargain. AO here is cheap. Virtuals protocol now, Hyperliquid rather. Hyperliquid is obviously down from its all-time high, but it's not cheap, right? Hype is an important, again, it's as important as, you know, these other big cryptocurrencies, right? But it is always going to stick around based on these circulating dynamics. All-time high, $59. You do have a 60+% discount, so I would put it into that 50+% off, but it really depends. I mean, long term, it should do very well. Low fees cheap, right? Neural AI is definitely a bargain. And I'm not saying a bargain or cheap because I like a cryptocurrency more than another. I mean, I'm doing a fair analysis here to actually let you know why, for example, Beam is at the bottom of what it's ever done, all-time low. So that is a bargain. Let's continue with this. Turbo is a bargain. In my opinion, it's also cheap, but what's concerning me is the fact that recently it's not been running with Ethereum as much as it should, but we haven't had any decent moves. So I would say it is definitely cheap based on the dynamics of Ethereum. The next one, I would say that's a bargain regardless, is Syrup, Maple Finance. Why? Because the TVL versus market cap is incredible. If you're DCAing into it now, sub 50 cents, I think it's an excellent, excellent purchase. And I don't think the price will come down. Layer Zero is on discount, more than 50%. Apache Penguins, I would say probably it's definitely cheaper than it's been. This is a super bargain in Near Protocol. Near Protocol is super cheap where it is right now. Taos AI or AI Tech or any of these smaller coins, these are incredibly cheap right now, but you are taking the risk. Pepe, I would say, is, you know, more than 50% off. Gansas, it has popped off a little bit, so I would say give us a better price. And here we have GeoDnet. Now, anybody who doesn't know what GeoDnet is it's a deep in play that's held by Grayscale. And I don't think people actually understand what it does, but I think it's incredibly cheap. Asta is on discount. However, the benchmark or the parameters of Asta are not clearly defined. So again, Asta, Hyperliquid, I would say they are down from their all-time highs, more than 50%. However, whether they represent a bargain or not, I do believe there could be either a better price available, and if the market turns around, then it will be a decent bargain from where it is. Next is Aerodrome Finance. I think Aerodrome Finance is, I've got to take a look at Aerodrome because it has the TVL, it has the use case to be able to do very well within the base ecosystem. However, the trading volume has been down lately. Now, below 50 cents, I mean, we caught this in the mid to high 20s, right? So if you look at the all-time high to all-time low, $2, 80% discount, basically. But if you look at the all-time low, then you are up absolutely ridiculous, 2.47 million % from the all-time low. So I would consider this as a, probably give us a better price, but more like that discount here, that it's off by 50% at least to where we've actually bought this from. You have Drift Protocol. I think Drift is a bargain. You have Kita. Kita's been doing well. In the last 24 hours, it's actually pumped a bit. If I just remember from my, was it the last 24 hours or 48? It's had some green 7 days, basically. However, is it enough? $151 million, 300 million fully diluted, 6 million only in trading volume. Kita is a decent project, right? However, I would say based on these current dynamics and that little pump, it has already come off this bottom, and the all-time low for Kita was ridiculous. I mean, all-time high is $1.68, all-time low being just 60% of a penny. So from those dynamics, I'd say, maybe perhaps too expensive for the current market, or give us a better price if it does come down. Another one that rallied significantly is Plume. Now, if you look at Plume, Plume was doing very well today. I always mix up Kita and Plume, but it was up at one point, something like 17%. Now, they've had a huge addition to the tokenomics, and of course, listed on Binance now, but all-time low. Unbelievable dynamics here. It is a supreme bargain, unless the team, I need to do a bit more research in terms of the team and what the hell is going on beyond the current price action, but I'd consider this as a bargain / cheap. Algorand is cheap. Everybody who knows the OG coins cannot ignore some of the dinosaur coins. It's just, your Cardanos, your Algorands, your H-bars. Of course, we talked about Arweave, and we've got Avalanche here at 50% more. So there you have it. Bit of a long video, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Where else can you get a comprehensive, complete list of the status of DCA and into the market? Smash a like. God bless you all. And maybe I'll put this into a couple of parts for you to stomach the video a little bit better. Take care, guys. Bye.